All right, so my name is Jeremy Tyndall. We're part of the club here. We are hosting this forum between the two candidates. Obviously, we did not prepare questions ahead of time. We do have some in case, but we wanted to give everybody else the opportunity to have their questions heard. I'm just going to go over a couple quick guidelines. I'm not going to read the whole thing because both sheriff's candidates have already agreed to this. For the most part, as you know, we are taking questions. We're asking the questions be concise and clear. Obviously, avoid any personal attacks. The club, we are not here to endorse any specific candidate. As I told you earlier, I don't know if everybody was in a room at the time, but as the moderator, I will be editing some questions from time to time, not for the total, we're going to get the point across of what you're trying to ask, but depending on the way it's worded or if it has specific individuals' names in it or stuff like that, we are going to make some minor edits to make them more general questions and not specific to any individual. We also are saying that we can and may skip questions if they're repetitive or if they're more of an insult or something along those lines. Each candidate is going to get 2 minutes opening remarks. Just to talk about whatever they want to. Then we're going to start the questions. Each candidate is going to get 2 minutes to answer each question, and then there will be no rebuttal time afterwards, just so we can get as many questions in as possible. We got a timekeeper here. He's going to let them know when they get close to the end of their time. And although those are not the full list of rules that the club that they've agreed on, those are the main ones that probably affect you all. Just in case you see me skipping a question or trying to change a question or anything like that. With that, you want to do a coin flip to see who starts, or does somebody want to start? It's up to you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We'll make it easy. We don't need to flip a coin.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you guys for being here. So those who don't know me, I'm Chucky Johnson, and obviously I'm running for sheriff of Washington County. I bring a unique experiences to this position. 27 years in public safety. 19 of those years have been in law enforcement, which have ran concurrent with fire rescue service. Those experiences, I've learned this is where leadership matters, making real-world decisions with boots on the ground experience. Over the years, we've watched public safety, we've watched the criminal laws and stuff change, and those changes have definitely changed the way that we do this job. It doesn't mean that we stop doing our job. It just means we have to find a different way to approach it. And with the experiences that I bring, the leadership capabilities that I bring along, that's exactly what we'll do in the sheriff's office. Thank you, guys.
Some of you know me in this room. Brian Albert, Clear Spring, Maryland, born and raised in Washington County. Went away for a couple years when I was in the Air Force. I grew up in my mom and dad's mom and pop grocery store, and in that setting, I learned about customer service, and that's kind of our motto at the Sheriff's Department for our deputies and responders, and even in the detention center, customer service. And my dad taught me that at an early age. This will be my third go around at a campaign. I ran in 2018. I ran in 2022 and won. Obviously, the first time I didn't win against the incumbent, Doug Mullendorf. And then this time. So just a little bit of family history. Our first run at this in 2018, I lost a son that died in an accidental overdose. In 2022, right prior to the election, we lost a nephew. And so it's taxing. We're hoping we're going to make it through this election with nobody dying. So, and I get a little chuckle out of my daughter. But I want to thank my wife and family for being here, the ones that could be here tonight. And, I've already have a proven track record at the sheriff's office. And we'll go, hopefully the questions will answer some of that, what we've done and what we're going to do. And at the end, we'll wrap that up. Thank you very much.
All right, so I pulled the questions out randomly. I put them in the order that I pulled them out at, so that's the order we're going to go with. Sheriff, since Chucky went first,
Okay.
we're going to alternate each turn. So how's your relationship with the city of Hagerstown, and what could you do to improve working with them?
Okay. Do you guys need me to use the mic, or can you hear okay? Okay. You know, coming into the sheriff's department, obviously I was kind of an outsider. I had friends that were in the sheriff's department and the city police prior to being elected. But since I've been there, our working relationship has gotten much better than it was when I first came. I don't think it was bad prior to that, but it just took me time to build relationships with the leadership at the city, both in the police and the city council and the city administrator. You know, we say a lot in the sheriff's office. We wake up, we're in bed with him every day, and we have to be that way to do our job. You know, I see some city police from back in my time that when I started in '91, that's in this room, and some sheriff deputies that have been here for a long time. And I would say our relationship's probably better than it's been in a long time. You know, we have a good working relationship. I talk to the chief multiple times a week. We do the DEA task force together. We can't do it without each other. We do SRT together. We can't do it without each other. We do the academy that we do. We do that jointly. So it's a combined effort in this county. And I think our working relationship's great. And I think if you would ask the chief, he would probably tell you the same thing. Am I done, Will?
Oh, that's the 30-second note.
Oh, okay.
20 seconds
30
left and keep going.
I'm good.
And we'll wait with you at the 30-second mark.
He put up his 3 fingers. I thought I was done.
You answer the same question.
Same question.
Those who don't know, I spent 12 years working at the city of Hagerstown for the police department. In that time, of course, I got to know all of those guys very well. I got to work with the sheriff's department deputies as we went to the academy together. We worked together in many cases and things like that. My work relationship is still very good with the Hagerstown Police Department and the leadership there. Currently, my position allows me to cross paths with both Hagerstown Police Department and Washington County Sheriff's Department personnel on a regular basis. We routinely work very well together. We bounce ideas off each other. We share policies. We share training. My working relationship with them is very well. For those who don't know, Washington County Sheriff's Office and Hagerstown Police Department, they do cross paths on many levels, and one of those is with dispatch systems, report systems, record management systems, report systems like that, things like that. There's ways for both groups to work together where we can save taxpayers from both Washington County and the city of Hagerstown money by combining efforts and sharing equipment and sharing programs of that nature. By doing so, everybody wins. We go together and it saves the taxpayers money.
There's an obvious change to the better with the crackdown on drugs in the county. What changes have been made? What changes need to be made? And do you intend to continue this aggressive approach? Chucky, you're up on that one.
Read it again.
I'll give it to you so you can read it.
Again, 12 years in the city of Hagerstown. Prior to that, I spent 2 years in the Smithsburg Police Department. Now with just about 6 years in the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. In Smithsburg, when I worked there, 3 months after the police academy, I was conducting patrol buys and writing search warrants. My approach to the drug crimes has always been very aggressive. Drug investigations is something that I found myself enjoying and I was actually pretty good at. So an aggressive approach to drug enforcement has always been a passion of mine. Enforcement is not where it stops, though. Sheriff's Office and Hagerstown Police Department, they do a very good job of aggressive enforcement. We need to hold all portions of the justice system accountable when we're talking about drug enforcement and drug crime reduction. If we're not, everybody's not working together on the same page and holding drug dealers accountable, and we cannot focus on long-term treatment plans for users in this county, then we're never going to truly win this battle. So, if elected, we will continue aggressive enforcement, and we will work together to hold accountable all parts of the justice system and work with the county to create long-term treatment facilities and plans for our users.
This kind of goes back to the first question a little bit with the city. The narcotics task force that we have in the county, since I've been elected, we've been able to add positions there. So we've added personnel and focused more on, the drug problems in this county and the issues coming here. Obviously, we know it's a pipeline from Baltimore to here, and there are other cities that come in. But we have taken an aggressive approach with that. We've been able to add up, and we started a strategic enforcement unit. That always screws me up because somebody named it and I didn't. But a strategic enforcement unit that those guys can go and do community engagement, traffic enforcement, drug enforcement. So it's 3 more people that we're able to add to our narcotics task force at certain times of the week or for longer times if necessary to attack these problems. And, that's working with the city. We've got commitment from the city to have more people at the task force. And having more people just allows us to attack this problem. And we've been doing a very, very good job at it. If you follow the Facebook page of the Narcotics Task Force, those guys are kicking butt every week. And hopefully if you don't follow it from here on out, because we're getting a lot of drugs off the street. One thing things have slowed down. The fentanyl has slowed down into our country. That definitely, obviously, because the borders are closed. But we're seeing an increase in methamphetamine and meth. So we have to. We're always changing when we're attacking it. And we work with across jurisdictions into West Virginia, Frederick, Allegheny County, and some in Pennsylvania. So we're attacking this multifaceted, and I think we're making a dent in Hagerstown because I feel the crime's down across the county. I know it's down across the county and the city, so it's helping that. Thank you.
Sheriff, you can stay up.
Okay.
Next one's for you. With 3 state correctional facilities in Washington County, what are your plans to reduce recidivism rates?
Well, one thing with the state system, we don't really control that here at the county or at the sheriff's office. But I can tell you, when I took office in the Washington County Detention Center, we were housing about 400 inmates a day. That was our average census. And to keep an inmate is about $190 of your tax dollars every day. And I think this morning we were at 282. So we've taken steps working with the judicial system and the judges and the detention center and the treatment facilities to work on getting these people released when they don't need to really be incarcerated. We work with them day reporting center. We have counselors and every service you can imagine that's available to the people that enter the detention center to get their IDs. We have ways for them to be re-entry back into the program. Gatekeepers is one of the examples that we have. But there's multiple that we have, and those services are all in the detention center. And we work with them and get them re-entry, get them jobs, get them a place to stay, an ID, a driver's license if necessary. So we're doing that in the detention center. I'm not sure that we would have that big impact in the state facility, but then if we can, we'll share our ideas that we're using.
Hagerstown is projected to be number 10 in release on the state crisis. Number 10 overall for the entire state. Meaning they're going to release the most amount of people back into the public. They have programs in place to help. They have programs in place to try to help reintegrate them back into society. What we find in Hagerstown and in Washington County is they don't always go home, or if they do go home, they come back home, which creates a problem and a burden on our resources.
Our resources should be for our people and our citizens to use so we can provide adequate treatment and rehabilitation for Washington County residents. Through the correctional facility, through the sheriff's office, we could steal some of the steps that the state uses, but more importantly, we can create our own for our short-term stays in the detention center. We will reevaluate the day reporting center to measure its success. Hopefully that reevaluation shows that it is a successful plan and it is working. If not, that's okay. We will recalibrate and reallocate those funds and those resources to a different program that is similar, that will work for our county and that will work for getting our offenders reintegrated in society to be a productive member of society.
We've got some comments from the back that says they can't hear, so if you guys could both switch to the mic, I'd appreciate it. So we only have to get rid of one question, and the only reason we're getting rid of it is because almost the same exact question was submitted twice. So, Chucky, please highlight your leadership roles and your prior careers and how you feel you could implement those skills at the Sheriff's Office.
Leadership isn't a rank. Rank is given, leadership is earned. Leadership is demonstrated, and that's exactly what I bring to the table, is demonstrated leadership. You get that through experience, and the vast experience that I have, again, from the fire rescue side for 27 years and 19 years in law enforcement, have shown where my leadership qualities are. I lead from the front, not expecting anybody to do anything that I will not do. Leadership is more than just a title. You have to have the respect of the people working around you to see that they're going to follow you where you need to go. They're going to follow the direction that you're going to provide. And that's what leadership is. That's what I offer. That's what I provide. Another part of that question.
How would you implement your leadership skills at the Sheriff's Office?
By listening. Employees want to be heard. Those around you want to be heard. So not just listening to what they have to say, open communication. When you listen to the men and women around you, that doesn't mean that you have to jump to whatever they ask you to do. That means that they're looking for communication. So while their concern may not be the mission or the goals of the administration, as long as you're communicating and they feel heard, they will continue to find you to be a leader.
Hopefully you can hear now. So I started in 1991 with the Department of Natural Resources and rose through the ranks as for about the first 10 years I was just an officer first class. And my wife and I had some discussions. I thought about leaving the department. We were going to go in business for ourselves, buy our damn gas station, start pumping gas and filling up tires. And I was a little unhappy at the time, and I was like, I need to get my head right. And so I took a leadership role in our FOP, and that was a statewide FOP with DNR. And it really jump-started my career. It got me to the point that I was meeting legislators by lobbying Annapolis. I was meeting the colonel on a routine basis for labor management meetings. So that was my first step. The second part, in 2013, I was promoted to lieutenant in natural resource police, and I was over Baltimore City, Montgomery County, Carroll County, and Howard County. And I felt that responsibility of coming out of that promotion, that I'm responsible for somebody 24 hours a day now. And I didn't take that lightly. And as I moved up through the ranks, I was captain for my last 3 years out here in Western Maryland. From Frederick County West, I had about 70 officers work for me. And I thought that was a big lift, and it was busy. As I came into the sheriff's office, obviously a lot of the deputies and employees didn't know me at all. So there was a little, I'd say, suspect of what in the heck I was doing there. I got the fish cop. Time. I'll just wrap it up real quick, Will. So I had the DNR, I had to fight the fish cop, but I think I proved myself with the employees, not just the deputies, but all the employees of the sheriff's office, that I was willing to listen and take their not just suggestions to make the place better, and that's what we tried to do as being a leader of the sheriff's office.
I'm editing this slightly only because it's written in first person, and I want to change that.
You did.
The writer indicates that they are against the 287 agreement, 287G ban. They're against the ban on the 287G agreements, but also against local law enforcement aiding and ICE. And they believe it should be more at the behest of the public. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, I entered into the 287G agreement with Washington County Sheriff's Office Detention Center, Warrant Service Officer Program, in July of 2025. I felt that being on the campaign trail the previous couple years, the Republican voters of this county wanted that, and most people that I spoke to did. So we entered into it. It's the safest way for us to transfer a prisoner into that detention center. It's safe for the person, the incarcerated person. It's safe for the deputies. It's safe for the ICE agents that's coming to get them. And anybody that works in Frederick, some of you guys know that from being down there. With the recent emergency legislation that Governor Moore signed, we have to abolish our MOU within 90 days. So ours will be gone by May 14th. So we're going to continue that for now. But we're going to come up with a policy on how we handle them, because it's just guidance. It gives us guidance on how we can do it. It's the safest way to do it. It gives us guidance in Annapolis yesterday. We don't want what happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in Maryland, anywhere, by any means. And if we're doing the safe transfer of prisoners in the jail setting, we won't have that. And we will work. I can promise you this is as long as I'm the leader of the sheriff's office, we will work with ICE as they come into our county to make sure that all the law enforcement officers are safe, whether they're federal, state, city, or county. And that's going to happen. And if the Attorney General Brown comes after me, I guess I'll have to spend a little time in federal prison. My wife will get a little break from me. But I think it's a good program, and we need to continue it. We're going to do what we can with the limitations that we have.
Working in Frederick, I mean, the exact results of the 287G program and the exact benefits of that. The warrant officer program is just that. people, when they enter the jail, they have to already have the warrant. The jail-based model that we operated under Frederick, that we did operate under, when those people were arrested for any crime locally, and they answered the questions on the arrest register that would create spark the specially trained correctional officers to come over and ask the remaining immigration questions. With those questions and with the local charges, our correctional officers could then contact ICE and they could lodge a detainer based on those local charges, not just waiting for a warrant or waiting for somebody coming in the door who had a warrant. So the jail-based program was a much more effective program, and I agree with Sheriff Albert. They have effectively made immigration enforcement less safe for everybody involved. And that's just not law enforcement. That's not just the community members who live in the area. That's also for the illegal people here. Those people, when ICE shows up, they are going to take anybody and everybody with them who is illegal, not just the person they were hunting for. So when they show up, they're taking everybody. Now, if you look at Minneapolis and you have all the protesters and people interfering with law enforcement, meaning the ICE agents, that's where local law enforcement comes in. We are not going to do our own street level immigration enforcement, but we will stand with the ICE agents and we will provide protection from them or for them from the protesters. Thank you.
How do each of you plan to work with local municipalities to stop female trafficking and sex trafficking?
For a few years while working in Hagerstown, I was assigned to called the Direct Patrol Unit at the time. It's a street crimes unit, and we focused on drugs, violent crimes, and human trafficking. So I have real-world experience of actually doing investigations when it comes to human trafficking and the crimes asked about. Ask yourself, where does most of this come from? And it's the drug trade. Right? In Hagerstown, in my experience, we had a few cases of human trafficking. Most of those cases, though, that we investigated, all revolved around the drug trade. These ladies were addicted, and they were using the sex trade to fuel that addiction. They were preyed upon by the dealers. Most of those dealers were not from around here. So the idea of focusing on incarceration of the dealers and tough on crime, tough approaches on enforcement of the drug trade will have a dramatic effect on sex trafficking in Washington County.
So currently, we run joint operations probably routinely, some with the Secret Service, but mostly jointly with our municipality, with Hagerstown and state police. But we do that as most of the, I don't want to give them tricks of the trade, but we're at the truck stops a good bit. We're in some of the municipalities when we have that, when we have those reports. But some of the misclaimers that happens in the human trafficking is a lot of people think that it's for, and it's probably media bias is the reason for this, is they come up and think it's for sexual activity. And Chucky's right, some of that is for the drug trade that happens, but most of it is for work. Most of it's work trafficking for illegal immigrants that's here in our communities that are being, their visas are taken, they're being held hostage, they're being told if they go to the authorities, they will be deported or locked up. So the trafficking issue is here. The sex trafficking, not quite as much, but it does tie into to the drug trade some. But we run operations at least quarterly throughout the sheriff's office that we attack these issues and try to combat it here in the tri-state area.
without getting into thoughts on any decisions by any other elected officials, can you outline what your view on the department's role is or should be surrounding recent controversies at different public meetings?
You need a good answer on this one.
Well, we obviously supply the security for the county buildings, and the sheriff's office does not make any of the rules for the local county officials or any of the rules of the meeting or the Open Meetings Act. We're just there to enforce the rules, and we will not and have not and don't violate anybody's rights. And we'll continue to keep that motto, and that's pretty much it.
With great speculation of things that you're talking about, here's what will happen. Men and women who attend these meetings and provide protection for the said event will focus on crime. If a crime is committed, they will make an arrest. These ladies and gentlemen are trained, and if additional training is required, we will rely on that training, and they will use their sound judgment and training to make the decision whether a crime is committed. That decision will not come from anybody but themselves. If a crime is committed, they make the arrest, we stand behind them 110%. If they believe that a crime wasn't committed, we will treat it just like anything else. People can file their own charges, but we're not going to be involved in it. Again, we support everybody's rights, constitutional rights, and we will do everything we can to enforce it.
This one's an easy one. Will you increase the police force?
That will be a goal. Right? There's several different ways to structure an ideal model for how much staffing an agency should have. Some outdated policies go off of a per capita style matrix, meaning X amount of deputies per 1,000 people, spread over your area. Those models don't generally take into account your geography and other outlying issues from within your particular jurisdiction. Another model is a peer agency. Good luck finding somebody exactly like Washington County that has the same obstacles geographically or budget restrictions and so on. So we will do a focus study on workload, which is the recommended way the IACP says to model your staffing levels. A primary goal of mine is to create enough staffing with the support of the commissioners approving the positions to switch to a 10-hour schedule, because that allows for the maximum amount of staffing on the road, and it is the healthiest schedule for law enforcement to work, providing health benefits along with optimal time off. Anybody who has been around this profession for longer than a few years knows that we've had a transition in mindset of the employees that we're hiring. This generation that we're hiring now is more, they say, family oriented. They're looking for more time off just like anybody else. So the 4 consecutive days of work, allowing 3 days off, allows for adequate coverage. It allows for the healthy, it allows for the healthiest schedule for law enforcement.
So when I came to the sheriff's office and looked at the staffing, we had about 10 openings when I came there. So we were authorized about 107, and we were down 10 positions. So we had 10 open positions. and we were never getting to that number. And, with the command staff, we looked at staffing and how it was set up. We hadn't added a deputy since 2014, but our population's increased 3% a year for the last 10 years. So I put together a comprehensive plan, took it to the commissioners, and this is a 10-year plan that will be in place no matter who the next sheriff is, that we'll get to 140 deputies in the next 8 years probably. We're 2 years into that plan right now. But at the time, the commissioners authorized us 8 deputies right away in that fiscal year, which increased our staffing and allowed us to put another person in the narcotics task force. It allowed us to create our new strategic enforcement unit. And, this coming fiscal year, we're scheduled to get 3 more sworn deputies. And we also added to the to the detention side. We added 5 deputies in the detention, and we alternate every other year. We did it on a 2-year cycle because everybody that's in law enforcement knows how long it takes to get somebody in the door and up and running. So we should be at 140 in the patrol side and about 125 in the detention center in the next probably 7 to 8 years.
We're down to 4 questions, gentlemen.
I thought we only had 6.
Well, we got a couple more there. All right. This was obviously worded for one candidate in particular, so I'll ask it a slightly different way. Sheriff, if reelected, what is the main goal of your second term? And Mr. Johnson, if elected, what will be the main goal for you? Yes, sir.
My main goal is to continue on the path that we have for the last 3.5 years. We put some things in motion. Obviously, I had a learning curve to deal with as I walked in, as Chucky would understand that if he's elected. He'll figure that out. That you have a learning curve coming in because every agency's different. And, the little things on who to go to HR and who does the budget and how you get those things done, it's just takes time to learn that. So it took me about 3 years to learn that. We had a few things happen in the sheriff's office in the first year that I got tired of hearing say, well, we've never had that happen before. And, we would have to deal with it as it come down the pipe. But I feel like that has kind of steadied off a little bit. So we're able to increase staffing, try to increase our narcotics task force, our strategic enforcement unit. We're going to increase people on patrol. We're going to increase deputies in the detention center and just build upon things that I've done for the last 3 years.
First priority I have is on day one, we will have policies and procedures ready to go that update and increase the ability for our deputies to utilize their training and sound judgment to make good decisions to increase public safety. That is the first priority, along with we have programs in place or in mind to put in place that bring all allied agencies and partner agencies outside of law enforcement to the table so that we can start focusing on not just violent crimes and drug crimes, but quality of life crimes. Focusing on quality of life crimes, meaning those neighbor disputes, those constant complaints that we get that seem to go unrecognized. The plan is to implement programs that will address those issues. The issues that I hear are the most issues that I hear from the community. People are concerned about violence. People are concerned about the drug trafficking. People are also concerned about those quality of life crimes. And those quality of life crimes is what is important to those individuals, and especially those outlying communities that seem to or feel that they're unrecognized.
I said 4 questions, but then I realized one was a duplicate, so we're down to 2 now. How will you handle the gangs that are taking route in our communities. The word they used is route. I'm going to say taking over our communities instead of establishing in our communities, maybe.
Again, this is where experience matters. I have experience in these types of investigations. Was part of a larger team that focused on our own local gangs, which were primarily juveniles at the time, with some adult leadership they had in their group. This is where strict enforcement, working within the schools to address problems and recognize problems early, holding parents accountable for their children, and conducting high-level investigations to reduce the gang influence and crime in the county. I believe most of that is going to stem from the city, but this is where a good working relationship and partnership with the City Hagerstown Police Department comes to play. And this is what we can do to help curb some of this. I've been part of it before, and it works, and it worked. The outline problem is, right now, is getting the prosecution to the table so that we can hold these people accountable. Juvenile makes it harder, but not impossible. And we can take steps to approach it from any and every angle that we can to make sure that convictions are there, hold parents accountable for their children, and for the adults, make sure that incarceration is implemented.
We hear gangs all the time, and we go back to the 90s where we heard the Bloods and the Crips and the Latin Kings and the different gangs. And just as our society has got less loyal, gangs have gotten less loyal. So you have people that are jumping back and forth. Most of our gangs that here that we incur in the state, in the county, stem from the prison system and or the detention center. We have an analyst on staff at the Narcotics Task Force that does a gang report for every month, puts it out to all the police agencies of the county. So we try to keep tabs on who's active in gangs and where they're at and what they're working, and keep that intel up so we can stay ahead of it. It's not a huge problem in our county. I think it's because of our proactive enforcement that's kept it kind of squashed down here. Like I said, they're not as loyal as they used to be, so one week a guy will be in the Bloods, next week he's in the Crips. So it's just like society is today. The loyalties kind of went away. But, we do deal with them some, but we keep track of the people that we know that are active in gangs and their activity throughout the county. So we try to keep a lid on it.
Sheriff, how do you plan to redirect? I'm going to word this slightly different only because it's more of a legal issue that I think is better suited to using the word juvenile. So how do you plan to redirect negative actions from youth or juvenile offenders?
Well, one thing we've done is we try to get involved. We have a couple community events that we do, so we're trying to get to the youth at a younger age. We do trunk or treat, and this probably is not going to take care of the juvenile crime, but I think it helps. We do trunk or treat out at the college with HCC. We have over 1,100 participants. If you haven't been there, please come out this year. We're involved in the schools and doing different things. The biggest problem that we have with juvenile crime is the legislature in Annapolis tying our hands on what we can and can't do. The interview, we've had juveniles that we lock up and bring in for a crime, either the city or the county or the state, and we can't interview them. First call is a public defender. And they're going to tell them not to talk. So it's definitely an issue. There's bills in the House this year that are going to even enhance the juveniles' rights and not hold them accountable. And it's going to make it tougher on law enforcement. And that's a difficult thing. But I feel that we have to get involved with the youth at a younger age. Law enforcement throughout my career was always, trying to hit into high school because they were recruiting to get people to come in. But I think we have to hit them at a younger age, and that's what we've been trying to do at the sheriff's office to get involved in positive role models with law enforcement.
Juvenile crime is a big issue, and the state has definitely made our job harder. That does not mean that we can't do anything. And what we can do is we can focus on Washington County and our residents. I have a plan in place to work with the county commissioners to pass a county ordinance that will hold the parents of the juvenile offenders accountable, that if we can't charge them through the court system where actual meaningful punishment will be issued, we will hold the parents accountable. Because every action has a reaction, and if we do not hold juveniles accountable or make the parents parent their children, they're going to continue until they're adults, and we're dealing with them for the rest of their lives, or at least the rest of their early adult life. So pushing through for juvenile and parent accountability is very important, and we would use county ordinances and local resources to focus on parental accountability. So we plan to work with the Washington County School Board to implement a program where we will work with early childhood education. And when I say early childhood education, I'm talking no later than 7th grade, because I agree that the high school level is too far gone. They've already been influenced, so we need to reach them at an earlier age. And that is showing realistic approaches, realistic results of drug use, and the results of them using some sort of drug, which again fuels most of our local crime with juveniles.
All right, so now both the candidates are going to have 5 minutes to do closing remarks.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. That's what was on the paper.
I will be 5 minutes. Man, we're really working curves there on that camera.
I know.
So,
Jeez,
I'll wrap up way less than 5 minutes. But since being elected sheriff, I've led with a clear and unwavering mission to protect the citizens of Washington County and preserve the way of life that our families and value and deserve. Public safety is not just a responsibility, it's a commitment. My administration is focused on building a safer, stronger community where families can work, live, and thrive without fear. In 2024, I touched on this a little bit, I put together a commitment into action by presenting a comprehensive strategic plan to the Board of County Commissioners to increase authorized staffing in patrol, detention, and support services. Expanding these critical divisions ensures the Washington County Sheriff's Office has the manpower and resources necessary to proactively combat crime, increase deputy visibility throughout our neighborhoods, strengthen specialized units to meet today's evolving public safety challenges. I've also made it a priority to build a workforce culture that values our employees and their families. By putting family first, we retain dedicated professionals who are motivated, supported, and focused on delivering exceptional service. When we take care of our people, they take care of Washington County. As I seek re-election, I'll remain committed to moving the Sheriff's Office forward with strong leadership, proven experience, and measurable results. Together, we'll continue protecting Washington County today and preparing for the challenges of tomorrow. So I just want to thank everybody for coming here tonight. This was a much less hostile group than I was in front of yesterday in Annapolis. I can promise you that. We have to keep fighting. I will say that I maybe criticized Sheriff Mullendore a little bit on the campaign trail because I didn't know about being involved with the Maryland Sheriff's Association. But the 24 Maryland sheriffs is the only ones that can speak for you. I will continue to do that in Annapolis. If we don't fight back against some of the crazy laws that are trying to be passed down there, and it's just political theater. It's not about public safety. They are passing these laws just because. I testified yesterday before a bill that won't allow us to speak to ICE. That's just crazy. And I told the committee 25 years ago when I was FOP president, I was invited to in uniform into any person's chambers or their office, and they would work with you. And now you wear a uniform in the halls of Annapolis, and they'd rather spit on you than speak to you. And that's true. We're about 20% Republicans in the legislature, and obviously the governor's Democratic. And so I will continue to fight for you, for everyone in this room and everyone in this community. And the sheriffs are the only ones who can voice their opinion, because the chief will get fired in a minute. One person I'd like to recognize is Dr. Hallbager, because I know that he spent many years on the Central Committee, correct, or the club. Both. He did both, and I know that he put a lot of time into the club prior to any of us in this room being involved. So I just wanted to thank him for being here tonight.
I'm running for sheriff for a simple reason. My family lives here, my friends live here, and this is where my commitment is. My wife, part of the legal community here in Washington County. My son and daughter-in-law are both paramedics in the county. My daughter still manages to somehow volunteer while being a freshman in Frostburg, but she still makes time to volunteer here in Washington County. This family is committed to the public safety of Washington County one way or another. My leadership style, my experience, is the forward-thinking approach needed to carry Washington County to a safer community. Quality of life crimes, strong proactive enforcement, and holding all parts of the justice system accountable is the direction that this county needs to make sure that our future, our young kids, grandkids, have a safe community to live. That is the approach, and that is the plan that I have in place to make Washington County safer. Team, for what I don't know, I have a team of experienced people coming along to help guide and utilize the experienced members already at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. With a team approach, we can implement these changes, we can implement the plans, and again, make Washington County safer.
Now we can go play bingo.
I want to say thank you to both candidates for coming out. We're going to do a little bit more business here. You don't have to stay up on the stage, but can we get one more round of applause for both candidates?
Social media handles and stuff, how if they want to donate and things like that.
Sure. That's a good idea. Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah.
A couple things real quick. To those in the room that are not registered Republicans, thank you for coming. I mean that. I think one of the biggest problems in politics from the local level to national level is when people aren't willing to listen to the other side. So even though you can't vote for either of these in a primary and you might not want to in the general election, thank you for being here and listening. That's great. For those of you that are registered Republicans, we got to drive some membership. I'm going to solicit y'all to join today, okay? Join the Washington County Republican Club, please, if you can. You can stop at the table on your way out. They'll give you some information. You can pay in cash, check. You can get online and pay. What are we, $35? $35 covers the whole year. We generally only meet We generally only meet 10 times a year.
25 for singles, 35 for couples.
Okay, 25 for singles, 35 for couples. The reason we only meet 10 times a year is because we don't meet in July and we don't meet in December. So we do plan on hosting some more of these. If you are a county commissioner candidate in a room, or if you know some of the county commissioner candidates that aren't here, let them know your thoughts on this. We'd like to try and encourage all of them to come out and participate. It will probably be less questions because there is a wider field there. Good.
And if you haven't already signed up, register to be an election judge. You get paid. If you're a student, it's service hours. We have to have bipartisan teams on every phase of the election process. If you can't be there on election night, sign up to be a canvas judge. Those aren't on election day. But we need Republicans and Democrats to sign up. And you have to have one of each for Dropbox pickup or ballot marking devices. If you don't know anything about it, you can be a greeter. We have to have greeters. So please register to be an election judge.
Also,
We provide training. So if you don't know how to do it, we'll teach you how, because I didn't know.
Also, once we get through the primary elections, we are in talks with the Washington County. I might have their club title wrong, so I apologize if I do. But we have been having conversations with the Washington County Democrat Club as well, because we would like to hold something similar to this for both the left and the right once we get past the primary elections. So keep that in mind too.
Jeremy, I got a couple alibis.
Okay.
So the next month, in fact, everybody that's here, I don't care if you're Republican or not, you're welcome. We're very inclusive. Take your phones out if you would. Go to your calendars. Go to March 26th, 6:30 p.m. right here. We're tentatively going to do the state's attorney's debate that night. We have two Republican candidates. Adam Gravel has confirmed that he will be here, and I'm waiting on confirmation from Gina Cerencione. So we're going to repeat that. Also, that night, I've got two representatives from the Washington County Board of Elections coming down to train everyone. To register new voters, you actually have to receive a training and get a little card from them that says you can go out and register people to vote. That card is good for 1 year. We do it annually. So they will be here March 26th next week or next month to do that. Doesn't cost anything, and it's very informative. Folks, citizenship is not a spectator sport. And politics, I will tell you, I never realized how ugly it was until the last 3 years. It is ugly and it is painful. And sometimes I think I'd rather have a root canal every day for the rest of my life than deal with some of the nonsense that I see in politics. But it is what it is. It's painful. It was designed that way by our founding fathers. And ask yourself, what would they ask of us? So please come out and support your community, because that's what you're doing. You're changing the future for your kids. This is vital. So Jeremy, back to you.
Back to you.
Okay. All right. Two things, and this is a solemn thing. I'm not going to mention the person by name, but a past president of this club is having some rather serious health challenges. Cancer that is metastasized. I'm not going to mention the name, but I'd ask everyone to keep a past president of this club in your prayers and in your thoughts. And very, very dear, close personal friend of mine, so I would ask you to do that. Secondly, you heard me announce tonight that I am no longer the chairman of the Washington County Political Action Committee, or PAC. Let me explain the way, for those new in the room, the way we do business. This club is two separate organizations, two separate bylaws. We have the Washington County Republican Social Club, which puts on our picnics and our Christmas parties and does outreach events. And then we have the Political Action Committee that its role is to recruit candidates, fund candidates, identify, vet, and elect candidates. 5 pillars of the PAC. By Maryland law, and it seems like it's randomly enforced, but this year, the State Board of Elections is saying you cannot be an officer of a political action committee while simultaneously being a candidate for office. I, for lack of better judgment and not listening to my wife, I filed to run for office this year. So I received a call from the State Board of Elections saying, we can't approve your campaign committee because you're a chairman of the PAC. So we went real quick and said, how are we going to do this if I'm going to continue on this journey? And I contacted our vice president. I said, will you serve as a member of the PAC, or a chairman of the PAC? And he graciously said, I will until we have a meeting and we ask for nominations from the floor. So, tonight, is there anyone in the room, members in good standing, that would like to serve the remainder of what would be my term, which would be through December of this year, as chairman of the Washington County Republican Political Action Committee? Anyone would like to nominate anyone for that very esteemed position? I don't blame you. It's a pain. So, with that, I nominate Jeremy Tyndall to serve as the chair of the Washington County Republican Political Action Committee. Is there a second? A second. Curtis, I don't think you're a member in good standing, are you? You are? Yes. Your dues paid?
Yes, it's been paid.
Curtis, I recognize you. All in favor of confirming his appointment and nomination?
Aye.
All opposed? Just you?
Just me.
You want to take care of the treasurer? Since you're the chair? We got to confirm Kate. Chris,
is she here?
Yes. Katie, stand up and be recognized. So I'm going to give the backstory real quick. John McElroy was the treasurer of the Washington County Political Action Committee, and he encountered the same stumbling block when he filed for treasurer I did. So he went out and recruited someone to stand in his very capable shoes through December of this year. Miss Katie Kresge has been recognized by the State Board of Elections as the treasurer, as they have recognized Jeremy. Now the floor is yours, since I can remember names.
So, Katie is technically temporary filling in. Does anybody else want to take on the treasurer of the Political Action Committee? Does anybody want to nominate anybody else? I then nominate Katie. Do we have a second?
Second.
Candace, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Congratulations. All right. So, that being said, the only business we have left is related specifically to the PAC. It's going to be real quick, a couple boring slides. If you want to sit here and watch us go through it so we can do what we're supposed to do every meeting, then you can. If you want to leave, feel free to leave before we do that. Derek? I'm sorry? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Asher is going to get up and we're going to do the drawing for the 50-50, so if you bought a ticket, I almost forgot.
Is there anyone else who would like to buy a ticket?
Anybody else? Anybody who wants to? Okay. He's going to draw the ticket.
130.
All together?
Before you leave, can I ask everyone to put their chairs lining up the table? Just like those.
If you have a ticket ending in 3669, it is a $55 winner. 3669. Curtis, you had a good recommendation, I never did it.
It happens.
All right, now I technically call to order the PAC meeting.
needs to take a public speaker. Well, I told her, he keeps saying it. He keeps saying it. Like saying, I did not put this chick or something next to me. What's that? I asked him who he wants to be here. I took care of him. There's like 5 dogs in Pack 7. She's the 6th one.
I think I liked your page. You sent me an invite.
Seriously? I know.
Where do you live at,
Yeah, what retirement? First
Are you right by the new ISIS? You are. She's a baby. She's you guys are tired? We're back.
Hey, I've been following your travels a lot. You love mine, man. Oh my God.
We just go back. We're home for a couple more weeks and our back again.
You are something else. You're so great. Since I've been here, it's vicariously through you guys.
My wife pushes me sometimes.
Is it her? I thought it was the other way around.
If you ever talk to her, answer.
You guys are great, though. I mean, you're just, I don't know.
We go off the beat.
You do? Quite well. Well, thanks for sharing this with us.
So it's a big family. Club is coming along.
I'll have your phone down. Good seeing you. I want you to send your trick.
So now what are you doing? Oh, okay.
Take it.
Oh, I don't know anything about it.
Right now, it's just one of those really close
I
rides.
think that drives.
But I'll do that. I'll take care of this
Unfair
It was all that.
You can find those raffles. John, keep your eye out for the raffle tickets.
Well, moving forward, assuming y'all agree for a commissioner's one, any feedback as a whole, like, Chucky would like.
I would suggest
I did. I had a bunch, and I had like 3 of them ready, just in case we didn't get these. Honestly, I thought we had too many to choose. So I'd rather do it.
Oh, absolutely.
If the people submit more questions on one side or the other, I don't want to be the one that keeps those. That's why I didn't want to come up with any of the questions, because I didn't want anybody to be biased on one side or the other. I wanted to mostly to come from stuff.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. The only reason I made it was as a backup.
That's what I said.
You know, and I would have gone if I had
To help me make sure I did stay on my ways, but I didn't even put it on the plate.
Yeah, I did a shitty job.